Hey guys, it's your boy, back at it again. So, a couple things. First things first. Hey, sorry I haven't been around for the last 2 weeks. I'm so sick. I've been so sick for the last 2 weeks. Nightmare time. I haven't played like any Digimon, I haven't like any tournaments, I haven't done much of anything other than sleeping and working. So, nightmare times. In order to make up for that, I'm posting this video on Friday. Hopefully, this is my second time recording it. I wasn't recording for the first 30 minutes. I do that so often. I really need to make sure I consistently check, but it's okay. I want to start posting more content other than just Tuesdays, so you guys will continue getting regular Tuesday Digimon videos. However, on Fridays, I kind of want to open that slot up maybe a bit more. I can be more Digimon content if that's what you guys want, or I play a lot of other card games as well. I've been like Legend and Hearthstone that I play pretty consistently there, even on my free time. Yu-Gi-Oh! I still play on Master Duel pretty consistently, or I'll play like some of the current meta stuff every once in a while still, with like Ryziel and Malice and stuff. I'll always keep up with it. I play the Pokemon card game, not the Pokemon TCG one on the phone, but I play like the actual Pokemon card game using the client, and then sometimes paper stuff. I play Magic, Commander sometimes with friends. I play Lorcana. I'm willing to test out a lot of other ones too, like Vanguard seems interesting, or V-Card could be interesting as well. There's a whole lot of stuff I'm really interested in. If you guys are interested in a certain kind of content, or if you guys just want like Fridays to be like a free day where you show up and one day it's like Yu-Gi-Oh! Because I feel like playing Yu-Gi-Oh! That day, or one day it's Hearthstone, or potentially just more Digimon content at any point, please let me know in the comments. Moving on to today's topic, I took first place at Eagle X's Thursday tournament, which was really nice. It being my first tournament back, getting first place feels pretty good. I really appreciate it. And I did it with Taomon Loop. It's also the first time I'm playing the deck. I looked into it when I first saw it kind of happening, and then I kind of saw a bit like of a fall off of what people were doing with it, to a point where I don't think it sees any like actual play anymore in the East. But now that we get these cards, I kind of want to test it out, see what all the hype was about, see if it really is that good. And I can tell you it's fantastic. It's very, very strong, but it has a lot of really noticeable weaknesses that I was able to find out over the course of the tournament, as well as in some of the games after the tournament as well. I will show you my list first and foremost, and I'll kind of go over other options and variants that you get to play and how that kind of goes. Then I'm going to show you the quote-unquote like combos that the deck has. It's not like a plug-and-play, oh, you can use this combo whenever you want. You have to be very cognizant of what pieces you have available to you at any given time, as well as it can change depending on what you draw, what is optimal, as well as what your opponent's on. So please keep that in mind. Like, I'm not just saying, hey, just do this, herder, this is going to be the ideal for you. And then after that, I'll kind of go over the pros and cons of the deck as a whole and talk a little bit about what the weaknesses are. I'm going to try very hard, because in these original 30-minute ramble, I kind of slurred them a little bit together. Not great, not fantastic, so I was very happy that, you know, I wasn't too sad that the recording stopped. But also, I'm sick, so if it starts to kind of ramble together a little bit, please forgive me. I'm still so very ill. That's okay. Starting off, we decided to play blue base Taomon Loop. I really like combo decks. I think combo decks can be fun. I'm more of a control player personally, but combo I think has a very close second place in my heart. So having consistent access to your Kaiser now was really tempting for me. Only being able to use it with Kazuha on the field always felt kind of meh to me. So being able to use the Hyaris as a just blue color source seemed really, really good. So with the blue base, we got some blue rookies. I'm so sorry, I just assumed you guys know what this card does. This card just simply says, once per turn, when you attack, if your opponent has no Digimon with sources, draw a card. It's a pretty easy condition going first. And then throughout the course of the game, ideally you're clearing your opponent's board with ruins and stuff, so it's not a hard condition to kind of meet later on either. We are playing 7 rookies that can Evo on our egg, which is a really, really low amount. Something I noticed with this is, one, obviously there will be games where you don't Evo at all, which can be fine if you have the pieces, but obviously being able to Evo your rookies gives you pressure in the form of a free chip poke, pretty consistently, as well as draw power. I went with a floodgate approach. However, I was very, very pleasantly surprised by this Jellymon. This was the ideal turn 1 Evo against every deck that wasn't affected by the floodgate, like immediately, very strongly. And why was that? Well, Hyarimon is a draw, and Jellymon is a draw. Start of your main phase, if you have 7 or less cards in your hand, draw a card. Swing in, draw another card. That's a 2 draw right there, plus the Evo. You cycled for 1. Very, very, very nice. I really want to add more copies of this. However, I'm not sure if blue base is the ideal, but we'll get to that when we get there. The Sayakomon didn't really come up too much. I never really ran into any decks that were hard cheating memory costs of their Evos that it mattered against. There were a lot of red-purple Imperial players, and they do cheat a lot of Evo costs. However, that doesn't really matter too much. Because typically, they either ignore the Evo cost, so you just do it without doing the Digivolution cost, which gets around this, because you can't reduce it, but you can just do ignoring the Digivolution cost, which is a little annoying. As well as their Wormmons do reduce the cost of the Evo, but that just means you end up with 2 more memory than you normally would have, and they can usually, I believe, steal a lot of it back. So, not super impactful. A card that is really impactful, though, Taomon. When I decided to go blue base, I did it understanding that Taomon was a card now. If this wasn't a card, I probably don't go at blue base. Being able to stop your opponent from medieval gallanting you is really, really strong. Being able to stop them from doing it for 7 is less strong, but still really good. Forcing them to do it for 11 is a very, very big game changer. It also helps against matchups that we don't have a lot of game against, traditionally, being Demon Lords and like Royal Knights and stuff. You can minus 10k a Demon Lords board, but they don't really care. It doesn't really do much against them. So this card helps those matchups a lot. I don't think it turns it into a winning matchup, mind you, but it still definitely really helps them. We are, however, still on a couple more rookies. And I'll go over them right now. And by a couple more, I mean exactly 1 more rookie. Playing 4 of the BT17 Renamon. This card is disgusting. This card makes me want to play yellow base a little bit. I'm not going to lie to you. Just on play, reveal top 3, add a name and an option with 2 or more or a Rika. So, just add Tao, Sakuya, or if you're on the yellow base, your Kyubis or other cards there, and then add a Rika or any option. Any option in this deck is findable. It's so good. So good. And because we play scrambles, this is the only target. I quite literally was playing it because I was like, oh, I just kind of want a target for scrambles, I guess. Like, maybe my opponent will hit it in security, or like I'll play it out like really, really early because I'm desperate. I play this card out mid-game, early game, late game. It doesn't matter. This card's fantastic. So good as a searcher. I'm not even going to read the inherit because you'll never get the inherit in this deck. Because we are skipping level 4s and going straight to 5s. Now, mind you, for red base, this is kind of similar. I think red base has a little bit better draw power, and I think better access to floodgates, and I think stronger monocolor options for defensive utility, like Crimson Blaze. Yellow base, you get to play your level 4s, and you have a lot more consistency, and your deck synergizes a lot better with itself, which is super good. I like blue base. We'll get into that. Sorry, again, rambling. Taomon, on play, if it's your turn, play an option with a cost of 5 or less from your hand. Blast Ace, doesn't matter, you're never going to get it on your opponent's turn. This card is the whole bread and butter of the deck, just playing it out for 5 and then doing the combo. It's really important. We're going to keep one of them off to the side, so that way we can go over the combo when we get there. It also has the inheritable, when attacking, give minus 4,000 DP to one of your opponent's Digimon, which does come up. That comes up pretty consistently, actually. Onto our level 6s, we are playing 4 of the BT20 or BT19 Sakuyamon. This card is really good. I was playing it at 3 during the tournament, and then afterwards I ended up switching it to 4. I took out one of the Kazuhas for it instead. Just the draw 2 is just really nice for consistency. Just pot of greed on the body that you're getting out for free that you're then changing into something else is really, really good. I really like it a lot. Other lists value Kazuha Mon more than this deck. Because we're on blue base though, we can choose to value the Sakuya a little bit more. And this is our way of kind of cheating out a little bit more efficiency and consistency. This is the card that people I think value a lot more in other lists that I really don't value as much in ours. And here's why. So in red base, this is the only way you can activate the option known as Kaiser Nail. Kaiser Nail is a 4-cost option that you play out a Digimon from your sources for free. In yellow base, you can activate the effect of Kazuha, which is the exact same as Sakuya. So they both let you use an option on Evo. This one, if it sees the option resolve, it gets a 6k token blocker. This one lets you play out a Taomon or a level 4 or lower Digimon from its sources. Which means, typically in yellow base, you don't have to play an Evo option immediately. You can play a searching option, like trainings or memory boosts, or one of your other consistency options, in order to actually activate this. If, though, you Evo these 2 Digimon before the option resolves, because the way it would work is yellow scramble into ruin mode, Evo, this second option will never be able to go off because this Digimon is no longer has that effect. So it won't be able to like resolve and see it. Similar to this one, you won't get the token, which is really sad and makes it so that way I value this card less in blue base because we have also consistent access to Kaiser Nail, but also because of the fact that we don't really get this second effect very often. If we're going to Evo something, it's usually going to be a ruin mode on top of this, so it's really difficult there, which is a shame. In yellow base though, I'm sure this card goes crazy. You know, Taomon into Evo option, into Kuzuha, into searching option, into Taomon, into Evo option, into ruin mode. Sounds fantastic. I'm so sorry. I should have muted my microphone for that. That's on me. Up next, 2 Sakuya Mon X Anybody. Crazy card. I honestly put this in more so for the memes because I didn't recognize how good it was. My god, is it crazy? It's crazy what this card does. A lot of the times, your Kuzuha or Sakuya can live a turn. Depending on what your board looks like, or depending on how much memory you end up passing to your opponent, like it's really easy to live. And depending on how set up you are, I mean, you can go into a Taomon for essentially 2 memory if you have like 2 or 3 Rikas, which is really good. So if you get TK and then like 2 or 3 Rikas, that's a free Taomon right there. You can Evo for 1 on top of your Kuzuha or your Sakuya. You get a 9k rushing token. That's what your Evo does. And then your turn, whenever a Digimon you control attacks, doesn't have to be Sakuya X, so even if you can't attack this turn, your token can't attack. It swings in, you can use an option card whenever one of your Digimon attacks. Just use a single color option card, so it has to be single color, no dual color. But I don't think there's so it's 5 or less. 5 or less. And when you do, you can unsuspend this guy. And so the way this one actually works is a little more interesting than the Kuzuhas and Sakuyas because it's all one effect. So, use an option of 5 costs or less from your hand without paying the cost. If this effect is used, one of your Digimon unsuspends. So the way that I understand this works, you Evo for 1, you swing into security, Sakuya X triggers, you play on an option that will then unsuspend your guy, and if the option would say yellow scramble, you can go into ruin mode on top of this Sakuya X while still getting the unsuspend here, which is really, really nice. She represents 2 checks on top of a Kuzuha as long as you have the option in hand. The option is free, so as long as you have the card in hand, she represents 2 checks by herself. There was the final game against Bergermon, the Bergermon player. I ended up having 2 Sakuyamon X antibodies. It was a wild time. I was able to kill them from, I think, 3 or 4 security really nicely. I had 1 in hand. I only needed 1 because I had a rookie on field as well. I was able to go Sakuya X, swing, option, unsuspend, swing, swing, and then I had, I think, another check. If I didn't, I did use the other Sakuya X in hand. Can't remember. I ended up winning because of that, which is really, really nice. Mind you, they did miss lethal the turn prior, but I had 6 security, and they almost killed me through 6 security, and I think it was like 2 or 3 memory. So, you know, that was busted. That was crazy. Anyways, we'll take out one of these just because they have some combo applicability. We're playing 2 utility level 6s. When I made this deck, I was thinking, like, why don't people play Ancient Guru and Venus? Like, yeah, you can't use them with the Evolution plugin, but you can still use them with Scramble, which seems really good, and you can use them with Blue Card, which seems really good too. It gets you like a little more card you kind of want to go into. And I didn't see any other Sakuyas or Kazuhas that I really wanted, so I was like, these 2 seem like they'll help out in matchups that Ruin Mode doesn't really do much in. And throughout the course of the tournament, I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I was so fucking right. People need, I don't understand. I don't get it. I don't get how this happens so consistently, where someone playing a yellow deck that's really good will look at Venusmon and they'll go, yeah, it's like a good card, but like, I don't think it fits here. Shove this, put this in everything, dude. Shove this everywhere. She belongs in every deck that can just shove her in. I'm gonna try to explain to you how powerful Ruin into Venusmon is. I can't conceptualize it for you. If a deck is already losing to Ruin, and you Venusmon them on top of it, there are so few decks in the game that can do anything from that point. They have to quite literally be a deck that plays on a different axis. So like Demon Lords or Royal Knights, like cards like decks that are just like immune, full stop. Like Zephaga is an example of like they're immune when they're suspended or when they unsuspend. So like that's like really like impactful and important. But yeah, anyway, sorry about that. Jesus, I'm still dying. This card won me a game that was really important. I'm not convinced on it. I am convinced on the Venus though. I think this card's crazy. This card has some application in the deck. You're not getting as much use of it because you don't have enough tamers to, I think, really consistently get its on deletion effect, as well as it requires your opponent to have cards on the field. But we'll keep both of them off to the side as well for like potential quote-unquote combos and why I thought it was good enough to add them. But you guys can disagree. 3 Ruin modes. I know this is a disgusting amount of money. I ended up proxying one. I have a 3rd one. I ended up pulling this all art and this regular, or this all art and this regular from the same pack, and then I ended up buying a Ruin mode. It's over there. I just didn't sleeve it because I couldn't find it at the time. Because I bought this card and a lot of the Sakuyamon stuff way earlier in the year. I think probably like around December or January. I can't remember when Ruin Loop started being like a thing. But you play this, you gotta play, I think, at least 2, but 3 is ideal because you want to find it pretty consistently in every matchup. Every matchup you're gonna want to find Ruin mode, not because it's good in every matchup, but because that's what your deck does. This is what your deck does. There will be, you have like no other game plans, unfortunately. So if the deck that you're playing against doesn't care about Ruin mode, the only other option you have is just going obscenely wide, which you can do. But if they don't care about Ruin mode, they're usually also pretty good at removal, which is the unfortunate part. On to Tamers. We need to play a X amount of Tamers to actually get a lot of our options working. The blue card and the plugin require a Tamer on field in order to actually be used efficiently. However, when they can be used, they're really fucking good, guys. TK, I played because of the fact that he is just so look at top 5 basically, and that top 5 ends up being your security, and it's a memory setter. being able to pull out a Taomon from your security or a yellow scramble from your security if you really need it desperately feels pretty good. And then for the Rika, it's a worse Renamon, unfortunately. The Renamon looks at 3 names, looks at top 3, adds a name, a Rika, or a option of 2 costs or less. This one looks at all of the names, so Renamon is included as well, unlike the Renamon that only does QB+. This one does from Rookie to the Mega. However, the worst part about it is the fact that it only adds plugins. So there's only a very limited amount that we play in this list, and because of that, a lot of times you'll bottom deck your blue cards or your scrambles, which feels really fucking bad. It has the upside though, whenever you use an option, you can suspend it to gain a memory. For every Rika you have on field, it just makes your Taomon cost 1 less pretty much, which is fantastic as a way to keep turn. 2 Rikas and a TK is a 5 cost, it's 5 memory right there, so it just makes your Taomon come out and let you keep turn, which is really nice. On to the option cards. We're playing 3 blue card, we're playing 4 scramble, and we're playing 3 Digivolution plugin. Now, there's a lot I can say about this, but I'll try to keep it brief for now. They all have a very similar effect. They're all trying to cheat an Evo for you. This scramble is the best one because it lets you cheat out every Evo in your deck consistently. This blue card in this Digivolution plugin are half of what scramble is. This lets you cheat out certain Evos in your deck consistently, and this one lets you cheat out every Evo in your deck inconsistently. So they are put together a full scramble. Unfortunately, we cannot play 12 copies of this guy, even though we would love to. Scramble also has the contingency plan of putting back Ruin modes at the start of your turn, putting back Taomons at the start of your turn, Sakuyas, basically whatever you need, and it can also play out the Renamon again for a little bit of extra search, which is really good. So just a quick rundown of what these cards do. This card, for 2 memory, lets you Digivolve one of your Digimon for a reduced cost of 3. This card lets you Evo for free into a Digimon with a cost of 3 or less. And then this card lets you look at top 5. You can Digivolve one of your Digimon into a card that it can Digivolve into. If you do not Digivolve, though, you can just add 1 Digimon to hand. Now, you always want like a combination of these cards in your hand. However, it's really hard to consistently do that. So you like, oh, we'll maybe play like 1 more Digivolution plugin S, maybe another blue card, and you're really happy about that. But then the deck becomes like a little bricky. It's a weird scenario where you really want a lot of these in your hand, but not too early. You'd rather have like your consistency pieces like Rikas, Renas, your rookies, stuff like that to find your stuff. Like unironically, the ideal turn is you have a hand of just Rika and Rookie in hand. You Evo Rookie, you draw a scramble off the top, you play out you play out Rika, I mean. It adds you Taomon and the Digivolution plugin. You pass. Your opponent gives you 1 memory, you promote your Rookie, you swing in for turn, you drew a Sakuya, you swing in for turn, you draw a Ruin mode. And that's like the ideal way that things kind of go, like unironically. Obviously, not likely to happen that exact way, but I do like these ratios. I haven't been like, ooh man, I really need a like third, like 1 of these in my hand consistently. Usually 2 is fine. If I was to increase the ratios on any of these, I want more blue cards because I think they're funny. But I think if you're playing better versions of the deck, I think you probably add a 4th card to this. Funny ha-has that let you high roll more, higher ceiling, way lower floor. Good card. We will take 1 of each of these though, because they can be used almost interchangeably for the combo depending on how things go. And I will say as well, blue card is the only one that I think can consistently hit a turn 1 Ruin mode. So, as for some defensive pieces, playing 2 Sorai, it lets you kind of get around those decks that I mentioned that just don't care about Ruin and really hurt you a lot. A decent security bomb too. I think that having some of these is really nice. It gives you a little bit of like an extra game plan against decks that will just kill you. However, you could also just take these out for some more consistency, and just say, like, fuck it. I don't think I will ever beat a Royal Knight player or a Demon Lord player other than outspeeding them and using a Taomon to the best of my ability. And that's completely fine and valid. In which case, you can add like a couple more Digivolution options, which would be good. Maybe some more Tamers, so that way those options are alive more often. There's a couple ways you can take it. Maybe a couple more rookies, so that way you have a rookie play more consistently as well. Maybe some Jellimons. And then the last three is Kaiser Knell. Kaiser Knell is a 4-cost option, play out a card from underneath one of your Digimon without paying the cost. That's it. Just play out a Digimon from underneath one of your Digimon sources without paying the cost. But it's really good, and it's the entire reason I'm playing blue base. So now that I've gone over the deck list, let's go over the quote-unquote combos. So, obviously Taomon is the ideal. From turn 1, no rookie, you just hatch the card. You can Taomon into a yellow scramble. So you put your opponent at 5, you yellow scramble straight into a Sakuyamon here. Sakuyamon draws for Evo, then you draw 2, and then if you have another yellow scramble in hand, you can yellow scramble again to go into Ruin mode for 2 memory, putting your opponent to 7 memory. Now, that sounds really gross and really crazy, and that's because it is. A turn 1 Ruin is really difficult, even if you give your opponent 7 memory. Most decks kind of look at you and be like, alright, I guess I don't do much. I just hopefully have a Tamer in hand and a rookie in the back and we're chilling, question mark. But it does kind of just stun most decks. This is usually pretty bad though. Obviously we used 2 yellow scrambles, a Tau Sakuya, and a Ruin mode. We didn't really set up. If this is outed, or even just like we attack, our opponent doesn't do anything. If we don't have like another way to get like Tau up consistently or more Sakuyas and stuff to kind of do, we're kind of just cooked in that position, which isn't ideal. I'm not going to say there's never a time to do a turn 1 Ruin. I'm just going to say usually not ideal. However, a slightly better play is Taomon into yellow scramble into Sakuya. And now, instead of doing the Sakuya play to do another yellow scramble, because we're playing blue base, we can go Kaiser Knell for free. Kaiser Knell will let me spit out a Taomon, and then that will trigger Taomon. That will also let me use the Sakuya effect to get the 6k blocker. Taomon then can use the second yellow scramble here to go into a Ruin mode. And now, this is a lot better board to work with. Instead of 1 Ruin mode, now we have a Ruin mode at level 5 and a 6k token with blocker. This feels a lot better. It's still not great, obviously, just because of the fact that this is a really powerful turn 1 board, but our level 7 is outing itself, and your opponent only has to deal with a Ruin, I think, in the turn. If you're going first, this is probably the turn they're not going to have anything that wants to promote, and then the turn after is the turn that they have to go deal with the Ruin mode, actually. Ideally, you do it on your opponent's 2nd turn and 3rd turn when they have to deal with the Ruin mode for the first time. That's truly devastating. It slows them down by 2 full turns, giving you a lot of tempo advantage over them. Let's go ahead and pick all of this up real quick. In my opinion, the ideal first turn is hatch, you Evo rookie in the back. So we'll just grab Otama, because why not? And we will grab this guy. The ideal turn 1 is rookie in the back, Rika, search. And the reason for that is because having a Tamer out turns on all of your options. So now we have a lot more room to play around with, and we don't have to just rely on yellow scrambles. Plus, having the rookie out gives us an extra draw, a cycle, and a security check, which will let us turn that clock on a little bit more. So now from here, we're in a great spot. Even if our opponent puts us to 1, we're in a fantastic spot. We usually just check in depending on what their deck is. With the Atomic, get the free draw. Maybe they have a card out already, and you're like, oh, damn, shit, all right, I didn't And no, maybe they're playing Royal Knights and you actually want to keep the Otama around. Who knows? The draw doesn't matter too much because we're going to go into Taomon anyways. Put your opponent to 4. Taomon effect, we can now use cards like the Evolution plugin, which will draw a card, cycling a little bit, and then we can go into a Sakuya. Sakuya will go ahead, draw me a card for Evo, and then draw 2 more. Kaiser now, play out the Tau. Tau effect, we have so many options now for what we can do. So we can Digivolution plugin again, go into another Sakuya. We can Digivolution plugin, go into a Sakuya X, I believe. We can blue card, and with blue card here, we reveal top 5. We have ruins to hit, and we have level 6s to hit as well. But we can also go ahead and do a yellow scramble, just to go straight into a ruin mode. And on a very similar board, tap the Rika, gain a memory back. You can also go into a Digivolution plugin, go into Kazuha. Kazuha effects, yellow scramble. After we get the token out from this Sakuya, don't forget to get your token, guys. Don't forget your token. Go into a ruin mode. Kazuha effects, play out Taomon. We have another yellow scramble in ruin mode. We can go here. We have a yellow scramble. We can go Venusmon. We can go Ancient Garurumon here. We can go blue card, try to hit a ruin mode or one of our level 6s off the top. And even if we whiff with the blue card, we still get to add. And then we can suspend the Rika at the end of it to get a draw. And so this play right here from 1 memory cost us 5 from the initial Tau, and then 2 from the Evo. So that was a 7 memory play. We gained 1 back from the Rika, put our opponent to 5 memory. This cost 6 memory total with all of our get backs and stuff to get a board from a Otamamon in the back and a Rika to this. And this is completely possible. This is not only completely possible, this is something that you can just do, I think, more or less kind of consistently in the deck. Because once you kind of find your pieces and you're able to get it going once, it's really easy to get it going a second time, and a third time, and a fourth time, and a fifth time, and 6th time, like that. Very, very good. Very, very good. Obviously, you know, we play out the Taomon here. You can go into another Evolution plugin. Go into another Sakuya here. Sakuya effect. Go into a yellow scramble. Then evolve here. Get another token. And that will put our opponent to 7 memory. Or not. They'll put them to 8 memory total. So we put them at 6, I believe. 4 to gain 1. Oh, so we put them at 7 memory, yeah. We put them at 7 memory. We would have an extra ruin mode and an extra token on board for 2 memory. And they would be under a minus 10k blanket. You can go into Venus or Anga as well. It's really gross. There's not much else to say other than the combo kind of just plays itself. You just kind of keep spitting out bodies. And obviously, like Demon Lords can just go Belphamon, suspend this guy, and pop them both. And they're in a much better spot. But against like Takamikazuchi, there's not much they can do. Against Red Purple Imperial, there's not much they can do. Against Pyldramon Imperial, there's not much they can do. This deck is very good at eating, I think, the best decks in the meta right now alive, pretty consistently, which feels good. There is an argument though that Royal Knights is better than some other decks right now, especially with the new support. So let's go and talk about the pros and cons. You guys just saw that really flashy combo. And don't get me wrong, it's really cool. It's surprisingly consistent. And depending on the variant that you can do, like with Kazuha here, if you go Tau into Kazuha, if you're on yellow base, you can play out a memory boost or a training to search. Kazuha will play out the Tau afterwards Tao will trigger, you can then evo into something you got off of the searching using one of your evo options, be it the guy or the Tao, which is really good as well. It's, I think, more consistent than blue base is, but blue base lets me play more of the draw Sakuya and use Kaiser Knell with it consistently, whereas with the yellow base, I have to always go Kuzuha first, into memory searching option, into Tao, into Sakuya, into Kaiser Knell there if I wanted to do it again, like so. Which is just like the difference. And it's up to you to kind of decide. I'm not sure which one is best. Again, I haven't tested the deck enough to really say pros and cons beyond just tell you objective facts of what the differences are. I will say, I can say the pros and cons of the deck as a whole, which is if you're playing the loop variant, meaning you aren't playing like the stack buildup and you aren't focusing more on the Sakuya X's and stuff, any deck that is immune consistently while suspended or when they unsuspend and they are 11k or bigger, there's not much we can do against them, unfortunately. There's not much you can do against them. I can't, in the matchups that I played, other than just getting out that board that you saw within like 2 to 3 turns, you're not going to be in a good spot. Because those decks are also really good at removal. They're really good at just like consistent controlling your opponent and chipping you down over the course of like 2 to 3 turns. In like 2 to 3 turns, you'll be dead because you won't be able to make any headway. Other cards that are really good against you are Gallant, Medieval Gallant. Just being able to suspend 2 bodies, pop your guy with the ace, be it the ace itself or the guy that has it as an inherit, get back 3 memory is really nice. And then, you know, you'll proc it on your turn because you are consistently playing. Just, you'll play out the Taomon and it will trigger your opponent's Medieval. Yeah, you can resolve your stuff, but the Medieval Gallant will always be able to pop at 11k, which unfortunately, both your Kuzuha and your Sakuya are 11k. Meaning that if you get to a spot where you're like, okay, well from here, I get to keep turn, I'm gonna go ahead and play out a Sakuya X anybody on this guy. You're never gonna get to that point because of the fact that it's just gonna get suspended and then it's gonna pop it because it will get to pop 8 plus 3k now because you're suspended body, meaning 11. Not great. The only way that you can guarantee this guy's survival is by going harder, by going like Kaiser Knell into Tao, into Kuzuha, into Evo this guy, into Kuzuha, into Tao, into Evo this guy again. You just have to get a wide enough board that maybe your opponent can't deal with it, but that's usually not good enough either. So if your opponent ends up sticking a Gallant, you're in a really rough spot unless you got the memory for it, which is where the Taomon comes in, because Taomon will make them pay 11 costs for it. And when they pay 11 costs for it, usually they'll put you to like 6, 7, 5. And once you're at 5 or 7, anything 5 or more, the Taomon being free is really, really nice. At 8 memory, you get to play out the Taomon and let it get popped and not care anymore. As long as you got like the cards and like combo pieces, the overflow will no longer steal your turn. And you can do that by having some amount of Rikas on board, getting you memory, which is really nice, or just like having put your opponent to a small amount of memory while having an Taomon out, and they will then put you to like an obscene amount with the Medieval Gallant. The pros though, I mean, yeah, you eat meta alive. Like I went against Imperial twice. I played one singular game and then I played a set. I played the set during the tournament and it wasn't close. It was a back-breaking defeat for my opponent, unfortunately. Good friend of mine. Check him out on Twitch, Drunken Spartan. Really, really cool guy. I felt really bad for what I did because he didn't promote once between 2 games. He Davis Kenned me, and then I ruin moded him, and then he evoed in the back past turn, and I ruin moded him again, and he said, okay, well, you're probably not going to be able to do it again, and then I ruin moded him again. He was like, oh, okay, that makes sense. And then game 2, he was like, okay, I'm going to try evoing up in the back, and he just couldn't find his pieces in time, and I ruin moded him like 2 more times that game. It was not close. Not close at all. most meta decks right now have a really hard time playing around one Ruin effect. I don't think there's any like really good consistent meta deck that plays on like the normal Digimon access that can play around 2 Ruin Mode effects. Takumi Kazuchi can't do it. The Red Purple Imperial can't do it. Imperial, which is Ra, can't do it. I don't think even Jesmon can really do it. I went against like the new Jesmon deck where they like hard play the Genku and stuff. It was not close. I felt very comfortable in that matchup. I just decimated them. And they were playing huge bodies where the Ruin didn't matter. But they're DP based for deletion from themselves. So because I was giving them minus 5k blankets, my Digimon were relatively safe. It was really good. The con is it's kind of inconsistent. I know I talked up like, hey, yeah, it's actually really easy to get the pieces and stuff. And it is. Once you kind of get like 1 or 2 of these effects off, you're good, you're done. You're going to be able to do this like every turn from now on until the game ends, which is fantastic. The problem is getting it off the first time, getting off the second time. There will be a couple hands where I'm like, okay, I can Taomon into Evo, into Sakuya, and then that's with the Digivolution plugin, the Evo, plus the Draw 2, that's like 4 cards right there. Surely I'll hit the single piece I'm missing in that point. It's like, no, you won't. It's like, okay, well, I can blue card. Blue card will get me there, right? And it's like, no, it won't. You'll miss. If you're relying on the luck aspect, like there will be times where you'll hit for sure, but a lot of the times you'll remember the bittersweet feeling of not winning your parlay, and it's like, fuck, okay, damn. The pros though, I think it has access to some really powerful tech options as well. I know that there are like definitely ways to like improve the list I'm currently on right now, and I'm already thinking of ways to make the deck not only more consistent but more useful into a wider variety of matchups and stuff. So come Tuesday, you guys will see this again, but the deck list will probably be different. And if it's not different, it's because I am sick and dying and lazy. Otherwise, thank you all for watching today. Please leave a like, subscribe, and comment down below about what I asked you at the very beginning, where I'm trying to figure out what I should do on Fridays. Thank you all so much for watching, though. Have a wonderful day.